Welcome. I'm here for my first ever live stream. This is for patrons only, although I'm going to actually allow this just a little bit for people who are not my patrons, just because I think it's going to provide a little bit of value. And then, but really only answering questions from my patrons. So I have a separate little Patreon live stream up there. It's my first time trying it out. Let's see how it goes. So right now, we're in the kind of mid to end of April. We've already experienced a lot of things happening with the pandemic, with the crisis, and the reality is we're not anywhere near the end of it. It's going to be something that's going to stretch on for a longer period of time. So let's go and talk a little bit about the strategies that we can use to move forward, and then also, what it is that we need to do to change. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience and what I've been up to, and maybe that can provide some insight. So, I run a photo business, and unfortunately, I actually wasn't able to really do my job at all. It actually became illegal on some level to do my job. I couldn't go out and be photographing or working for exhibitions. All the exhibitions I was supposed to photograph were closed. With no real date, and if I didn't get a deposit, then basically kind of fizzled out into nowhere, and my entire business kind of fell apart. And so what I did to continue to make profit, to continue to reach my revenue goals during what's happening right now, and I guess I want to be clear what that is. There is like a very real human tragedy element to this, but right now we're just talking about profit and how we're going to come out of this. So what I did to pivot is I went and I connected with my why and my mission. So what is the role of Lost Alphabet? What is the role of Premier Art Documentation? And for Lost Alphabet, the publishing company I own, it's not about selling books. For the Premier Art Documentation, it's not about taking photos. It's about sharing diverse ideas through photography, through video, through books. But really, it's about starting interesting conversations, sharing diverse ideas, empowering artists. And so what I did is I continued to stick to my mission, stick to my why, reconnect with that why, and then the what changes. The who stays the same. So what I've done is I've been doing live streams all the time. I've been doing webcam shows, and just pivoting the what to address the why. Now, when you're looking at what it is that you're doing, you might feel a little bit lost, and that's because you may not have really connected with your why. And when I do one-on-one consulting clients, one of the first things I do is we ask, who's your target audience, what it is that you're doing, why are you doing that? And from that, we build something out. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, what kind of content are you making and how are you going to go around doing it? So, if you know what it is that you want to explore, then you shouldn't really be lost in that regard. You want to continue to be making art, and from that, you can still make something really special and really great. So what it is you want to do what you can. And what I mean by that is, you're not going to be making the same quality of work that it is that you're used to. I own a Premier Publishing, or a Premier Documentation company, and here I am doing a webcam live stream. We have professional broadcasters like Jimmy Kimmel or whatever doing webcam live streams essentially, and the quality is obviously nowhere near as good. So, but people still watch it, and I think that that's what's really important here, is that no one is going to judge you right now if your quality isn't amazing, because what matters about content is never the quality. It's always the message. It's the actual content. I know as artists, as creators, we get caught up in this perfectionism, but the reality is that perfectionism is really just holding you back. So don't worry about what kind of work it is that you're making. Just focus on sharing your message, continuing to follow through with your why, and doing it in whatever way you can. I mean, one exercise that I really love that I got from Tim Ferriss is to think about the mental exercise of what would this look like if it was easy. And so, what would it look like if it was easy? And for me, I realized if it was easy, I would just hop onto my webcam and do Zoom calls and take cell phone selfie videos, and then from that I would be going and posting that, and now I can make content all the time. I don't have to worry about dragging out a really expensive camera or scripting things. I'm hopping on live right now. I'm doing the least amount of work that I can. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to connect with your who. So you have your why, you changed your what, but you need to connect with your who. So who is your target audience? So right now, figuring out who that target audience is and then finding out where they are and reaching out to them. So one of the cool things right now is that everyone's home. So they all have time. And you can actually reach out and connect with people that you normally would never have the opportunity to and never have the time with. So, for me, a lot of it's actually like reaching out to institutions and like art museums. And honestly, like I'm just sliding into their DMs saying, hey, I love this. Can I learn more about it? And then having a conversation with them. And it's getting me way more progress, way more business than cold email was, which is pretty fantastic. So, you're really going and getting as much as humanly possible there. So, reaching out to the who. The next thing would be the when. I would recommend if you're stuck at home, just go and set regular business hours. And that way you're not beating yourself up all the time. You're not like obsessed and saying, oh man, like I wish that I was working a million hours. I wish that I was not doing enough. By setting regular business hours, say 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, you show up, you do what you need to do, and then you're done from there. And I think that that's really, really powerful. So there we have it. There we have your who, your what, your when, your where is home, and your why. And from that, you can really build out something really powerful, really helpful for you, for your audience. Now, what kind of stuff is it that you're going to make money from? So if you are in a service business, you really can't continue that same service. You can pre-sell for when it's done, definitely. But another thing that you could do is instead of just pre-selling, you can look into alternate types of packages. Maybe you teach online what it is that you're trying to do. Maybe it is that you have online classes. I know one of my friends is doing yoga classes a couple times a week, and she's crushing it. And doing tarot readings. So whatever if you can do it over Zoom, do it over Zoom. If you can teach what it is that you want to do it. Another thing would be, just helping other artists and helping empower them. It's really about finding your who and your what and sticking to that. That will answer so many of your questions. The final thing that I want to talk about is just taking care of your mental health during this time period. I know that that's something that I and every artist that I'm talking to is really struggling with, both because it's like so isolating being alone and also because it's really overwhelming feeling everything that's happening right now. Like there's a real tragedy happening right now, and it can almost feel wrong to want to be productive. And I think that's something that you should not run away from. You should acknowledge that feeling and that hurt. So what we can do from there is we can ask ourselves, like, um, it's really about setting boundaries and treating it like work. That's what's going to save you. So set the boundary of saying, I'm going to work from this time to this time, and then I'm done. And then, allowing yourself to just put in the bare essentials and then be done with it. Make sure that you're doing self-care daily. Make sure that you are reaching out and having nurturing, nourishing connections with people that you care about, and checking in with people that you love, and eating healthy and working out, and just keeping that regular schedule. I know one thing that I'm really struggling with right now is being outside. Is I'm struggling to sleep at the right time and go to sleep. Even I'll go to bed and then lay in bed for 4 hours and then wake up 4 hours later, and it's really frustrating. So it's acknowledging that there's a struggle there is super real, and I think just showing yourself that compassion and everyone else around you that compassion is the best thing that you can do. I would highly recommend, again, building that schedule, because the thing is, if you're an artist, you're always motivated to make art, to work, but very rarely are you motivated to feel good, to do the things that you don't want to do. It's so for me, I'm always motivated to make art, but I'm very rarely motivated to go and send out emails or to invoice clients or do my tax paperwork. That for me is it's just awful. So setting up so that you do those kind of crappy things first, and when you have the motivation or just doing them will get you a really far away. And be compassionate with yourself moving forward. So there's my tips. Let me know if you have any questions, and we can follow up in the future. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. Again, I'm letting this one be public for right now because I think that everyone needs it. And I'm trying to address whatever questions that I got on my Patreon, and I appreciate all of my patrons. So if you don't know that, just click the link in the description. I really appreciate all of you, and I wish you best. Let's check in 2 weeks, and we'll have another live stream. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.